intentions are valuable.
Heyo. Wait, okay. Let's go. We won that. Raze is buying. Raze is buying up. Holy.
I have the spike.
Where are you? Mark 2.
They're rotating off B.
Bomb buddy out. Enemies losing A. Target grenade.
Toxins going up.
Boom.
No. Oh, hey. No, we don't.
Bring them down.
Toxin screen down. Spike planted.
Oh, behind. One's here.
Last player standing.
Does that rage? Fudge?
One enemy remains.
Oh.
Grounded. Grenade.
Oh my god. This is. He got.
Don't mess with
Does it
this
say the
guy.
Reyna's like
No.
back at its like. It's the Reyna last alive to defuse.
Okay, I only have like 78 grenades left. Hopefully that's enough.
Huh? Huh? Huh?
Kill all your opponents.
Huh? Huh?
Enemies
Oh,
touching me,
that's
I'll
crazy.
find you. Reloading. Mark 1. And Mark 1 attacks them. Reloading.
Oh. We lined up.
Bring them down.
Just be louder.
Last
He,
player
like-
standing.
Someone's behind you.
Attack when they're suppressed. I cut their options, they make mistakes.
Bro, what's up with these toxic people? Like, what the? It's unrated. True. I mean, you're not wrong. Hmm.
There. Reloading.
Yeah. Oh, there's 3 flanking. There's. Oh.
Dropped. My ult ready.
Well, I mean, you're streaming now, so like, you know, we gotta keep playing, right?
Spotted A. Listening. Sensor tripped. No
But low key though, we are winning. Like, we are tied.
Their death demands our attention.
Yeah. Okay, this is my plan. We sit in a corner and we wait for them to come at us.
Shake them up.
Oh no, I'm not ready.
Where are you?
Oh, 2 on hookah.
Spike down.
Jets and hookah sub.
Last player standing.
136.
Fire needs oxygen. Let me replace this phoenix's air.
Bro, the neon ran past me, so I just got killed the Reyna. Oh. Oh, I hate this. Man, this is might be a little tough. Well, what if we FF and play 2 more after this?
Charlie Mike, let's move.
Joke's over! You're dead!
Last player standing. Spike down B.
Radiant kill.
Oh! I keep killing the Reyna.
You're all more important than words on a brief. Look out for each other.
Can I get a drop?
Hmm?
Can I get a drop?
What does this guy want? What? What does
Let's
this Razor want? I don't even know. I don't have money. Just dancing around me though. Oh, I got one.
Target spotted B. Marked one.
Spike down B.
My ultimate is ready.
Nice.
One enemy remaining.
And we're clear.
Heyo.
This is what I live
We're
for.
doing it. We all we need. What? Me neither.
Thanks.
Nah, I can't spy either.
Shutting them down.
Go get him.
Target
Enemy
spotted.
spotted A. Marked one. Spike carrier down.
Spike down A.
Reload.
Jet's still flanking.
Apologies.
Ouch!
Last player standing. One enemy remaining.
Nice. Last ones have ult. Nice try. You got one. That's one
There's
to me.
no need for the enemy to suffer.
Why is this? I hate these games. This is the only thing that's keeping me sane. The Zen music. No, I'm insane right now. Thank you.
Two suppressed.
I don't even know how many I have on.
Over there.
I have 30. Yeah,
Let
because
me
I
bring
spend it.
them down.
Spike carrier kill.
Last player standing. Spike down B.
This isn't fun. This isn't fun.
Flawless.
This isn't fun.
If any of you die,
It might be
it's
time.
brimstone, so don't embarrass me.
Is there something else I can play? Is there something else we can play? The what games do I have? Let's check the Steam.
We will hurt them.
Escape Sim. Or Escape Simulator.
Commendable.
Caution here.
No one walks away.
No surprises.
Night, night.
He just one top me.
I'll find you. Goodbye.
What are some other good games? Borderlands.
Down.
You still have it downloaded?
Last player standing.
I don't know if I deleted it or not. I'm not gonna lie. Why do we play against Smurfs? I sure just have those.
They think themselves are equals. They are mistaken.
Oh, it's Haru! Oh, Haru. Kozu told me to blame you for no reason. He was just like, yeah, blame him, and so I had to just blame you. I apologize, Haru. It's not my choice. But Kozu says your fault.
Take hold. Barrier deployed.
Reloading. One enemy remaining.
Target spotted. Bring them down.
Ooh, that's awkward. I don't have Borderlands 3. Ooh.
Last player standing. Spike down A.
I can't. What was it? I can't remember. Because you just said blame you, so yeah, it was kind of crazy. I didn't think Kozu would like that. Crazy. I don't know why Kozu would say that. Like,
30 seconds left.
oh, whoo.
Last round in the half.
Spend those credits before we lose them. Anyone need something? Anyone need something? I could use a drop.
Well,
Thank you. Thank you.
Get out of my way. They're great. Nothing there.
valid.
Spotted A.
Zip.
Goodbye.
Okay, Phoenix is on B. Okay, KO.
Careful.
Joke's over. You're dead.
Here.
You have Wolf Viper.
Bring them down.
We found one.
Don't get in my way.
Spike planted. Hi! I'm pissed!
He has no laser gun.
Nightmare, take them!
One enemy remaining.
You got it. She's hit 70.
Take hold.
Last player standing.
You got it. You got it.
Good job.
Switching
You're too
sides.
clutch. He's like
Bragging
that.
rights if you get first pick.
Oh. For gamers, there's no bedtime for gamers.
Breathe deep.
Why didn't you tell me?
Oh, I didn't
Hi,
know you guys
Kazu.
did that.
No, I'm not silent on purpose.
just
My
me?
fucking
Wait.
mic muted and I didn't realize.
It was just me talking your stream.
I
Hi,
think
Cozy
so.
Chat. Hello, it's my stream now.
Thank you, Kazu.
Sorry, I didn't
How are you
realize,
guys? You guys didn't hear me cussing out the enemy team. Okay, that's good. Hi, how are you guys? It wasn't on purpose. I just didn't realize. Cause like you know when your computer updates, and you know when your computer updates and like your shit changes. Yeah, it does happen to my computer. I will never
no
give
idea
sound
what
to you. How about you? Kazu, I'm surprised you're here this late.
They have courage, but no one is immune to fear.
Well, that's so funny. I was saying, Cozy,
Like,
Cozy told me to blame Haru, and that's all I
No.
heard.
I
That's all
was trying to defend myself.
No,
What?
I think.
It's only 8 p.m. No, cause for me it's almost 11:30. But like you know, I don't stream literally past like 12 o'clock.
It's only 8. I don't even know what you're talking
How
about.
was your day, Kazu? What were you up to today? What did I do wrong? Here, you didn't do anything wrong. You would never do
Too
anything
long on
wrong.
B.
B-Man B-Man's on something.
I'm on something.
Here.
Yeah. Oh shit! I didn't see them. I'm good. I'm
One
good.
enemy
Good.
remaining.
Fast on site.
Spike down B.
Did you actually? No, you're not in school. Imagine not going to school.
Move to the corner.
Nice. Kazu, on a scale of 1 to 10, how was your past week? I haven't seen you guys in a week. B-Man on the perk. B-Man does drugs. You know when we were in
Wait, what? Huh?
when we were in what's the map, Sunset, there's like an the RHVC, whatever it's called, and I'm just like that looks like a name of drugs, and B-Man asked me if I did drugs, so that kind of made
Wait, what?
suspicious.
Huh?
B-Man smokes crack. Hey, Haru confirmed it.
No, what? Huh?
Haru
What?
confirmed
No.
it.
No, 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 no. No, 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 no.
Yep.
Never. Not me. I mean,
It was a 7. Oh, that's good. Good news is I'll no longer be under. Actually, do you mind if I ask what type of employment that you've been granted with? Or is that confidential information?
Poison orb emitting.
No surprises. Target spotted A.
That's exciting. Oh my gosh, where can my Kazu?
Poison's off.
Are you excited?
Spike planted.
Oh shit, I should have shot that. They know where I am. No, please. No,
98
please.
Phoenix.
No, please.
2 in shower.
power?
Toxins going up.
One enemy
Oh.
remaining.
Ooh, nice.
Last player standing.
Can I come work with you, please? Oh, Ashley. Kazu, can Hero and I work with you? Just a local part-time. Ayo. Have people asked you like if they can go to your work and like say hi to you? It's like, oh my gosh, Kazu, you finally got a job. I'm going to come to your work and say hi to you. Oh my god. I hate when people do that. I'm sorry. I can finally say it first. Oh, then I can stream. Oh, you can? Kazu streaming? Kazu, what games do you stream? Hi, Kazu. Hi. Hi, Jay. I'm in school right now. Sir, please listen in class. I'll be here. for the next like I don't know how long until B-Man gets off. I hope you have a good day at school, Jay. Hope your classes are going well. Is this selling drugs, sir? No. Kazu, is this selling drugs? They know where I am. They know I'm here. Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh fuck me.
Spike planted. Last player standing.
My grandma shows up to my job to say and bring. Didn't she bring you the zucchini bread once here? That actually I wish. My grandma lives in not another country. No, she actually does. Whoops.
Pry open their minds. Find the weakness.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna show up to you guys' jobs and bring you guys cookies. What are your guys' favorite cookies? Be you two. What's your favorite cookies?
Can I get a drop?
Need a drop.
I'm eating lunch because no classes. 3 hours. Definitely did not expect to stream. No, honestly, Jay, I wasn't supposed to stream, but like I was gonna stream tomorrow. But I'm just like, imagine if I stream now, and then B's just like, why not? And I'm just like, you know what? You're right. So we instead of like playing one more game, we're gonna play like 2 or 3, and that'll probably be the
Taking a
stream.
warm shower.
So I can like sleep in tomorrow, cause I'm like fucking I'm like tired. B.
Raise short.
Yes.
Spike down A. Last player standing.
What?
I'm
One
like
for it.
dead. We're full A.
Just
I have to be
cookies?
quiet though. My mom's sleeping.
ASMR stream.
Shit. Let me turn off the game. Oh, I need to hear. Hi guys, welcome to my SMR stream. Yeah, she likes screaming.
Oh wait, but I can
random
scream,
shit.
right?
No, you have to whisper too.
I can scream however loud
Shut
I
up.
want, right? Okay.
Haru, what do you like? What do you like, Pakozu? How the fuck much you want this? Okay. Hello, guys. Hello. Welcome.
Sounds like it's painful.
Welcome to today's stream. Today, we're playing. Stop. You're gonna make me lose character.
You're
You can make me lose character, shut up. I've been sleep deprived since last week. Dre, get some. Oh, okay, I can't do it anymore. B, you made me lose it. Jay, please.
B. Alright.
Jay, please get some sleep. Where is he? No, B. Wait, where is he?
Spike down
Elbow.
A.
Oh shit! You. What if he's behind me?
It could be.
Bitch ass.
Let's go.
on me. He's on me last.
I'm on my way. So yeah, today we're doing a ASMR stream. Oatmeal cookies are pleasant. You guys like oatmeal cookies? You guys want oatmeal? Do you like oatmeal
Careful
raisin?
by lamps.
Okay. Where's lamps? Is it U-Haul lamps? Bitch. You sound ill. What the fuck's that supposed to mean? What the fuck is that supposed to mean?
Why is ASMR Kozu just like even more roasty? Like people.
Holy shit, my tits are huge. Kazu, what the fuck, Kazu? Kazu, I didn't know you're built like that. You're packing more than I am. I did tell someone earlier that my dick was bigger than his because he was talking shit. But I said that only to B because I was too scared to say it in all chat.
I got some B long.
So you say it to me?
Yeah, remember
Is that
that?
supposed to make me feel better?
No, oh shit. No, remember that cipher? And I said at least my dick's bigger than yours, but I didn't say it in like the group because like I was too nervous to. Cause I was just like, oh, you're a girl? I thought you were a man. Yeah, you're just nah. I'm like, you know what? Not that you. I'm not gonna say that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I can't say that.
I can imagine like you're trying to be quiet and then
No, that is ask Haru. That's exactly how I am at night, especially with Valorant. Like I'm trying to be quiet. I'm actually nervous. I'm actually scared. Where were they?
on A.
Okay. I can't actually hear anything.
They're
Mainly?
planning.
Oh, there? Where are they planning?
Oh, wait, stop.
Oh, shit! I fucked my shit up.
It's gonna rotate B.
They may be running away, yeah.
You reckon?
30 seconds left.
I'll wait here for a
Yeah.
bit. Okay.
Oh, yeah, they're planning B.
Okay.
Spike planted.
They're
Okay.
planning.
Okay, thank you.
Planted. Poisons. Here, I got the voice lines for you.
Shut up. You're gonna make me laugh.
That's what it sounds like. Doo-doo.
Bisa. Oh, fuck.
Beep. Fire in the hole.
This fucking piece of shit ass. I hope you.
Clutch. I got
I'm
the voice
sorry.
lines for you. Don't worry.
Okay. I
There's
need to
a
like. I
shy.
don't even have. Thank you. Oh, goodness, good. Okay. I mean, I have like used your stream to help me sleep, so I guess ASMR is fitting. Okay, good. I guess we're doing ASMR from now on. Backwards ASMR. Yes, sir. Backwards ASMR. You sound ill. Your mom sounds ill. Holy shit. Oh shit, Rob. What? Yo, sick. You know what else is sick? Your dad. No, this is the right chat. Of course you'd say that. Last what? She did be whispering. I gotta listen to it.
I
Oh,
hear
at
me
nighttime?
Phoenix is here.
I remember the one time we were talking, and then my mom came and like closed my room door. Bitch,
Backside.
I got him for you. My mom came in and closed my room door, and then my sister came. It's just like, mother said you're being too loud. You get a noise complaint. I'm just like, actually? Oh shit. And I'm like, actually? And then she was like, oh my, yeah. And I'm like, damn, I didn't know. My should be noise can. My I'm dead. Hi, Dad. It's nice to meet you. I need to exposure therapy to get rid of my fear of big tits. Excuse me, sir? Real shit, Dre has said in a minute. Y'all, I thought, guys, this is why I don't stream at night, because all of you are down bad. Every single one of you. Me, I cuss a lot. You guys are down bad. And then there's B. B is innocent. No, this is not appropriate.
What? I feel like it's too late to just be like it's too.
Bro, I'm absolutely feral the later in night it comes. That's why I don't stream past 8 o'clock, because I sound so
This
bad.
is content though.
No. They have an image to keep up. What do you mean this is content?
This is content.
No. My bad. I'll tell you to be quiet next. Haru, please. Because like half the time I don't even know how loud I'm speaking with you. And the next thing you know, I'm like, my mom is... Next thing you know, my mom's over here closing my room door and I'm oblivious. Oh shit. Yeah.
Planning on A.
Down bad? I'm wide awake. Oh, actually? So when you're not wide awake, you're more innocent? No,
Oh.
that could have went bad. What did I do? Haru, I didn't say you did anything. What do you mean?
No, Kozu blames you though.
No, I
can't remember
don't.
what for, but Kozu just blames.
Scroll back up in your chat. What did I did some. Honestly, I did say some. I feel like I'm a burp. I said something, but I don't remember what it was. BSO wanted terrorist. Sir.
Huh?
What can I say? What can I say?
Wait, I just because I wanted terrorist. Maybe.
He didn't
okay.
deny it.
Maybe. What if I was?
The sun is in the sky over here. Dre, what time did you wake up this morning? Are you on early bird, Dre, or do you?
A.
Dre, how did you test? Didn't you say you had an exam? How'd your assessment go?
God, four. Four in the shower.
Oh no! Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. I'm sorry. Blood thinks she say so. Kazu, what do you mean think? I know.
Last was shower.
You know what's not say so? Me with your dad. I mean, what? Wide awake, I'm slightly better. Honestly, I woke up at like 6:30. Are you guys morning people? Ayo? Wrong chat? Wrong chat question mark? Wrong chat question mark? Identity shit, but random bullshit works. Was it like, what kind of exam was it, Jay? B-Man is his code name. His real name is Bartholomew Christian Balhazard?
How do you know? How do you know that? Ah.
He's Russian too?
Possible.
Damn. I thought he was ancient English.
What?
I thought he came from the Renaissance.
Duh.
Shit, for real? We're full day of people. We're full day of people? What do you mean you're full day of people? Oh shit. Oh, y'all saw that. Where the... They did the same thing to me.
78 on the neon.
Essay? How'd your essay go?
No.
I said because his dad, you what? Hit it from the back. Oh yeah, he did. Multiple times. I don't even... Oh, B. Wait, B's clutching. Let me...
No, I'm not gonna win this.
Nah. He's got this. B-Man. Honestly, I'm not surprised at this point. You what? He what? Kazu, he... Oh. No, B-Man! Nice try. He got jiggy with the creator. GG's. He wanted to be my stepfather. I said, no, sir.
Huh?
Huh?
What?
What?
Well, we can't end on that, right? We can't end stream until we win a game.
Oh my goodness gracious. My bedtime, you know when my bedtime was? An hour and a half ago. I've been up since 6 a.m. I'm reaching the 20-hour mark. And you know what I was when I woke up 2 hours after? Tired. I was falling asleep in class. You know what saved me? Not even the energy drink I drank 5 hours later. Sheer will.
What if you drink an energy drink right now?
I don't have any more. Actually, I have a Red Bull in the basement. I'm not going all the way down there.
In the basement? You got
Hell nah. You don't. The kids are I mean, what? Down bad me is actually a nice guy. Unironically, actually, I'm stepfather. Daddy, ew. Don't call him that. Blech. Are you guys rocking with the no music in the background and just like the game kind of? Sheesh, hype for father. What? Question mark Haru, you have grown a new name. Oh, B-Man's beat it. Shh, guys, we gotta be quiet. He's been Red Bull.
Wait, are you?
Huh? What? It's the same person from the other team. It's the same fucking 3 people.
Oh, we're gonna win. We're gonna win then. We're gonna win. Easy dub.
B, these were the toxic ass bitches that were talking shit to us last game.
Yeah, but they're good though, right? So we're gonna win.
I hope. I'm not even gonna say nothing.
We're gonna win, but at what cost?
I'm not gonna even say nothing because I know I'm gonna get in trouble for the next thing I say. Oh, father, what's your favorite Red Bull? What's your favorite Red Bull flavor? Harry Soraya redeemed on you. Hi, Harry Soraya. My name's Kozume. You can call me Kozu. You're correct, not so correct. I don't play Genshin. Actually, I do play Genshin. And Valorant streamer, and I also PMS.
Should I go with this? I don't know.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh,
screw
Buff
it.
Leather.
It's in both of our chats. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm rocking with the you shutting the hell up. You know what I'm rocking with? You getting time the fuck out. That's what I'm rocking with. I'm already tired. Dre, you got this. How much longer do you have? Is your school going on for much longer? I'm not a Red Bull enjoyer. I'm a Celsius enjoyer. Celsius? But fuck this hair. What? Oh yeah, that works too. Huh? Same thing. Rude? No, cause time me out then. Okay, bet. I don't actually know how to time people out. Backslash time.
Hey, you gonna time him out?
Oh, he asked for it. At Hair Soraya 160. There we go. Bitch ass.
Hey.
Now you can't say jack shit.
That I think he loses VIP status too.
I'll give it back to him. No, cause he just time. Oh yeah, cause what is he does that to Nick does that for me. I'm a Celsius, same thing. Sheesh. Puffally, do you drink energy drinks?
Celsius
5
is-
more
it tastes
hours.
different.
Energy drinks?
Celsius
boy.
is like
For
sparkling
what?
water.
You like sparkling water?
No, that's Celsius. Celsius is like sometimes it's alright. Sometimes it's like
Yes, you should drink a Celsius.
like-
5 more hours. Dre, you got this. How many classes do you have
Celsius.
in that 12 hours? In that 5 hours?
I will not take any more Celsius slander.
I never had Celsius
is
before.
not sparkling water. Celsius is an energy drink that is way better than Red Bull.
sparkling
It is
water.
quote unquote healthier for you and has like 60% more caffeine in it.
Do they have that in
That's
Canada?
healthier?
I have no idea.
It's in
I'll-
a can. Duh. I'm here all night. Don't worry. I'm out. Bye.
That's so
Do you-
depressing.
Where is this voice
I
chat?
hurt.
Give me a second. Go to
Just
server.
because we're leaving.
I'm tired of your bullshit. Anyways,
That's
so tell me
crazy.
more. Does it come in like different flavors and stuff?
Oh, absolutely, yes, dude. So most of them are carbonated like Red Bull.
Uh-huh.
But they have 2 non-carbonated flavors, which are my favorite. One of them is raspberry acai green tea.
Oh.
The other one is peach mango green tea.
Do they have a lot of
they
green
have-
tea themed stuff?
200. They have 200 milligrams of caffeine each.
Is that healthy?
So for reference, like a standard like Red Bull can, like one of the small ones,
Mm-hmm.
is like 120, I think. 140.
Ah.
Yeah, the recommended amount of caffeine that you drink in a day before it's near fatal is like I think 600 to 600 milligrams, I think.
Mm-hmm.
500 milligrams, something like that.
That's
But,
not too bad.
Yeah,
That's
you-
crazy.
You are recommended to drink more than 1 or max 2 Celsius a day.
I
I
see.
think I've had max 2 in a day. But yeah, I built up a tolerance. It's kind of bad.
Mm-hmm. I felt
I
that.
like had it down to a science where if I drank a Celsius like in the morning when I started work, like it would wear off in exactly 6 hours, like
Damn.
on the dot.
Damn.
I would just feel it in the afternoon, like 3 p.m. I'm like done.
I felt that. I know that feeling. I hate it, but
One enemy remaining.
damn. I guess they are good. I'm gonna look it up if it's in Canada. I should drink coffee and Mountain Dew until my heart stops. Does Mountain Dew have caffeine in there? Does all
Yeah.
pop have caffeine in there? What?
A little bit.
First of all, it's soda.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Mr. American. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, get it right.
So, hell nah. I'd be saying, nerd, I'm back. Sup, dude? Here, do you know about Celsius?
I know
Oh,
about
the-
Fahrenheit.
Oh, those
Ha,
5
I
hours
know
is
that.
one sub.
But what about it?
You know, I think 4-hour stream is long enough.
Yeah, I think he's overdue for his bedtime.
Yo, chill. Let me say my joke.
Me, huh? Why am I last player? Please no. I don't know what to do.
At their ankles.
No, there's a. Oh shit. Oh, well,
They're behind you.
isn't that the other dude that was on the opposite team as well?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
The Reyna, the Neon and Reyna.
Yes, they taste like booty cheeks. You don't like Celsius? Maybe you'll like Fahrenheit.
Oh.
What? They don't taste like booty cheeks.
Well, did you steal my joke? Did Kozu really just?
How do you know what booty
Did-
cheeks tastes like? That's my question.
Kozu steal my joke?
I would never
And,
do such a thing.
and there's no and I get blamed for a bad joke.
I'll never stoop so
Huh?
low.
Huh?
Still jokes.
What
Dre,
is this
I hope you have a
blasphemy?
good lunch. I hope your class goes to 5 hours for one class is crazy. But then again, I have like lectures that are like 3 or so hours. That's even wilder. I beg you. So they talk shit no matter what side of the team they're on.
Yeah.
Oh guys, please don't die. I'm not meant for this. You know, I should have played Cypher. Me, aren't you playing Cypher? No, you lied. Why'd you change last second? Oh, she walled that off. Oh, you're sick for that.
You're sick. You're sick in the mind.
You're sick in the mind.
Last player standing.
Imagine, I'm gonna die.
No, I believe.
You reckon I save it? One is all I need.
That's right.
I eat ass. Say less. You know what you should eat? Your vegetables.
wait, are you questioning a father?
But father, just wants to
Don't
know.
worry about it.
I'm just vibing, bro.
It's just fine. Are we all going?
Tomorrow, so I'm making a presentation for that right now.
Oh shoot!
You're being a good, diligent person. The dog. It's
Wait,
not
what
gonna
the
go
fuck is
nowhere. It's running. Oh shit! 99. Ain't gonna lie to you. You reckon they go to just a different site? I flank him. You call me fat Kuzu? That hurts. No, you can be. Did I see someone?
Oh yeah, bomb.
You can be fit and still like enjoy vegetables and fruits. I really like fruit, especially when I'm like sick. It hits different when you're sick and you eat fruits. Like watermelon?
Sugar. Aye.
No hairstyles. Have you guys tried watermelon with lemon juice on it?
Seconds left.
Was that directed at like?
That was directed to anyone. Anyone.
Not a single person responded.
I'm focusing. Chill.
Chat leg.
That was directed to everyone. I was like, damn, no one likes watermelon and lemon. Okay.
I'm focusing right now. What do you mean?
You know why I like when there's not many people? It's because I can say shit and no one responds, and I'm like, okay, no response. Next question. When there's people like around, I'm just like, shut. Do I say it again or do I like not? Stop laughing. It's more awkward now.
I've had watermelon and tahini.
How is that?
I had watermelon.
Oh, you did facts. Watermelon's pretty good.
Watermelon's delicious. Yeah, it's pretty good. You reckon watermelon with salt would be good?
No.
Ah, all I needed was one. But isn't like tahini like salty? Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wait, where are you?
Right here. Just sit on Spike.
Where's Spike? Oh, there it is. Oh, what's here? I'm back. Professor came here and left. Tell Professor I say hello.
Please go to race.
What'd you say?
I have no idea.
Oh no!
That's no. Ha.
What?
Huh?
What did you say?
What? Nothing.
¿Qué pasa?
I wouldn't say anything.
I like watermelon with these. Of course you like it with these. 42 plus 8, 50.
Put these nuts in your mouth.
Excuse me. That's very not PG-13. Yeah, sorry,
They're
Hero.
coming. Let's see.
Before they beat you to it. I'ma dog him. Oh shit, I didn't move the dog. Oh shit, I'm gonna flash him. B-Man! B-Man! Oh shit. Guys, I'm in need of assistance. He said it? Yeah, he beat you to it. He's a bit faster, sir. If you please direct your these nudge jokes to a different section, I would like to curate them.
Okay, we won.
Yes, sir. Oh, Bark. Oh my gosh, thank you for the one biddy. You know, biddies sound like another word that's really fun.
Yitty.
No, it starts with a T.
Biddy?
Okay. What?
Eh?
What's that one? Biddies, oh my gosh, someone got it. I'll flash
I
you.
would never guess that.
Oh my gosh, really? Honestly, it's honestly nice. I think it's not a common word. I tried saying it before and someone was just like, what? And I'm like, you don't know the word. I can heal you. Oh!
I can fix him.
You can fix him? B-Man?
I can fix his keyboard exception.
Ah, I see. 90 biddies for tis. Oh, thank you, sir, for the 90 biddies. Thank you. You don't have to do biddies for the titties, though. It's okay.
30 seconds left.
They respectfully.
The many biddy titty committee.
The many biddy tit. Oh shit. Oh, whoa. The many biddy titty committee. Founded by Who's Yes, it was at Nerf Neon 2023. This feels weird having the game so quiet. Itty bitty biddies committee? Itty bitty biddies committee. Itty bitty biddy.
Let's have some fun.
Sorry, I was jamming out to 50-50.
I've been in lonely. Okay, Mala, that's alright, sir. Thank you for your 95 biddies for the committees of the itty tillies. They're here.
Yeah, what she said.
Yes, sir. I'm gonna flash him.
Oh, you flashed. Okay.
Oh, sorry. I did warn you. I'm scared. They know where I am. Oh,
Spike planted.
oh, sir. I'm watching your back, but I'm about to get my shit rocked.
Last player standing.
Maybe I just want to rock.
Really?
Fuck with you on.
Oh?
2 doll hairs well spent.
But not nice enough to die in.
Doll
Let's
hairs.
win and get out of here.
You got Maple Leaf monies?
Is it just maple leaf? We got.
You know,
Money made of maple leaves?
the bills actually smell like maple syrup. Like fresh bills actually smell like maple syrup.
Straight off the tree?
Straight off the tree. Just pick it right there. Only the green ones though. If you want to get like different colors, like the red 50s, you gotta wait until like fall time.
They taste
Oh,
like,
they're
they
here.
smell like pumpkin spice maple syrup? Like what?
No, it's just regular spiced maple syrup.
Well, so funny story. I died.
Oh
Alright, that was
my
pretty funny.
goodness. Can I get titties for free? Excuse me, sir. What does this look like? A strip club.
Player standing.
You got paid to get in.
See ya.
You know who's actually? Well, no, I'm not gonna say that. This is a PG-13 stream.
Is it?
now it's PG-13.
It's always been PG-13. I don't know what you guys talking about. It's always been PG-13. Oh, hey, sir. I smell like cocaine in strip clubs. Sir? What? What? What do you mean, what?
Anyone have any flints? I may have jammed my fingers.
Multiple fingers.
Why is our team still going A? I don't understand.
I don't know. I really don't know. Maybe instead of like doing a late night stream, we should do like an early morning stream because like all the toxic people
Wrong.
are out at night. Wrong? How was wrong?
Scout destroyed.
Anything with early morning in front of it that's not sleep is wrong.
True. I feel that.
Blinded.
But like what? Cause like all the toxic people are out at night. So be
Spike down B.
sir, please. All the like toxic people are at night. None of them wake up early in the morning because they too. Be swing with me. Ready? Oh, they left.
Wait.
They won't wake up in the morning because they're too lazy for that. So
They
what?
wake up in the
I'm
morning
lazy for
feeling
that.
like PDD.
Where's Spike? Wake up in the morning feeling like, oh, like P. Diddy?
Yeah.
Wake up in the morning.
With a bottle of Jack.
If I leave for the night, I ain't coming back.
I'm talking pedicure. I'm my toes.
Those.
Turn on my
30
clothes.
seconds left.
Even some on your nose. I
What?
don't know. I don't know the lyrics.
Boys blowing up my phone. And my favorite PD. And I to the party. Trying to get a little bit.
Can I get a
Oh,
little
wait.
bit too?
Last round before the
Don't
switch.
stop. Make it
Stop, make it pop.
tip on my
We don't need background music when you
Hi,
guys
Jay,
are
thank
singing
you.
that.
Pop Father karaoke
Yeah.
question mark?
Hey yo. True.
Right.
You're
We don't-
here.
We don't need to bring that back.
Why not?
When is Puff Father next stream?
Right?
Oh, that's a good question.
And then you guys sing some you guys sing some songs.
Throwbacks.
Crazy.
I didn't
Let's
mind.
hit throwbacks are the best backs.
He's here back up.
Hell yeah. Any morning stream, sleepy voice stream. Literally 90% of my streams are early morning sleepy voice. Cause like
That's
I
true.
wake.
Your streams do be going on at like 8 a.m.
Yeah. I
I'll be
wake.
up like first thing in the morning. I see Kazuma is live. I'm like, what is this?
Oh, that's what I'm saying.
I'm like half asleep on the toilet, like pulling
You
it
know-
out. Like,
You know the moment like you end stream, I like wake up.
Yeah. I wake up, I get ready like 30 minutes, but like I don't say anything within that 30 minutes. I have like a slice of toast and then I start stream. So most of my streams have morning voice.
Last player standing.
free stream toes go crazy.
I do.
Flawless.
Wake up? Sir, why are we waking up? It's the first of the month. You're 15 days too early.
Paint? Check.
Wake up.
Charges? Check.
It's the first of the
Wake me up
First-
when September.
Oh shit, bro. Someone didn't wake him up.
Damn. You gotta wake him up next year.
Tough.
Good night, Sleeping Beauty. Was it Sleeping? No, Snow White. Who was the one who passed out? Sleeping Beauty, right?
She's the one who be sleeping, yeah.
Ah,
Kind of like her whole thing.
I see. I'm not really familiar with the Disney
What's
shit.
her? Wait, what's Sleeping Beauty's actual name? Is it? I don't even know. I feel like it's some weird name.
That is true. Oh
Aurora.
shit.
I actually knew that
Aurora.
before. I was looking at it, yeah.
He's a
Aurora.
Disney. He's a Disney girl.
Heal up, squad.
See?
A flash.
Blinded. Sleep tight.
Clearing out.
Oh, I think there could be someone back here.
One enemy remaining.
Gun here.
Can't rest yourself?
Can I rest yourself?
I feel something.
Her name is
moving.
Chris.
Can't place it.
Chris?
Chris Rock?
Like us, but
Huh?
different.
Hmm?
Oh?
What? He said what now? Christopher Columbus? No, that's even worse.
Reloading.
Don't stop, make it pop. DJ blow my speakers
Find the
up
weak
too.
point.
Well,
Break it.
William Shakespeare?
Do we see the sun?
Tick tock on the
Spike
clock.
drop.
I got the spike drop.
Enemy spotted. Reloading. I have the spike.
Party's over.
Revealing area.
Who else is named Will? Will Smith.
William.
Block it.
Wilby's?
William.
Will these nuts fit in your mouth? Oh shit, I missed.
One enemy remaining.
Don't stop, make it pop. Oh shit!
We crushed them.
Yeah.
I'll do my job. You do yours.
You do yours. Okay, sir. No need to.
See you again. See you again.
When I see you again. Oh my life, come see. Why are we doing this?
You want to see?
I guess they keep saying see again.
Authorized.
See again?
Nice. Yeah. Oh shit. Miss Ray's.
Sailing over here. Enemy spotted C.
Miss Ray's. I've been here, like. You just had to go into the.
My ult's ready.
There's a guy there.
What type of gun you had? You had a Bucky. B, what is with you in these Buckies?
I did. I picked it up. What?
You feel?
It's almost finished. You keep dying.
Drone, I got drone. I got drone.
Spike planted.
Oh, Sova. Oh, Sova.
Soba?
Skybox.
Time to hunt.
Standing ahead.
Scout
Oh.
destroyed.
One enemy remaining.
Thank you.
Last player
Oh,
standing.
I'm kind of.
You have 2 blinds. You have 2 blinds.
Oh shit, my nails fucked up.
Nice shot.
What the fuck
Yo,
am I
yo.
watching? Yo, your ass.
Yo.
stop.
No, good try, good try.
But it's
Sorry,
like,
the
Alex,
acrylics
okay,
got in the way.
Okay.
Nice try, nice
It was
I like
just
that
acting.
guy.
Nah,
Nice try.
y'all
Nice try,
talking.
nice
No,
try.
no, no. I don't like the way y'all talking shit and then saying nice try. Pick a side. Either talk shit or say nice try,
No, like
please.
that try was a nice try,
No,
but
no,
you were
no,
pretty
listen,
shit
listen.
for that.
Jets
But, like in
kinda
general,
like a dick rider,
you're pretty
no.
good. In general, you're
Jets-
pretty good.
I
Jets kinda
don't
dick-
trust you right now, Jet.
Nah, Jets kind of dick rider. So.
Wait, what did I do?
I see.
No, I'm sorry, I don't talk shit. I was just saying that like
Mhm.
in that moment, your ass.
I
It's just the
see.
feelings, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's kind of dick rider too. So.
It's okay.
You should call this jet a chutia.
What does that mean?
It means
Spike
good player.
down A.
I see.
Here.
Oh, B, there's one right there. B, no. Oh, there's one flank. These guys, yeah, they're a bit.
Last player standing.
But you know, I heard we talk our shit. We talk our shit. Tosea? Do we say nice try?
No, you gotta say chutia. That means nice try in Punjabi.
I
I'm
see.
pretty sure this guy's Indian. This 11-1-3 guy.
How do you spell that? I don't want to say incorrectly.
It's spelled like this.
I see.
Pronounced like
I get
Go see.
I get
You're all good,
nervous. Oh, Chutia.
chutia.
This
There
guy
you go.
good,
You
bro?
say it right there. Yeah.
1 second. What you say? Sorry.
Hey, I said you good, bro.
Uh-huh.
Go see.
I'm perfectly fine.
Alright, come here, Sky. Come.
Yes, sir. Oh, they fucking oh.
Enemy spotted C.
They feel.
Reloading.
I need heal. Heal. Scash.
Oh, sorry.
Spike down C.
My eyes stopped seeing them. You good, bro? You good, ma'am? Young lady. Oh, sorry, thank you. You look like a...
Same place. Same place. Right there,
Here,
right there,
if you want to say it, say it with your chest.
Don't peek, just back up. Straight.
Fuck, stop, Breach, bro. Stop.
Say it with your chest, sir.
Breach, yo,
It
don't
did.
jump here, that's
You
it.
liar. That doesn't mean nice try.
What are you talking about?
That don't mean nice try.
Breach,
Huh?
you at me, bro?
No, hey. What did that mean? Nice
Breach, can you
try.
buy him?
See again. See again.
It don't. It's, it didn't. Don't say that.
Oh, you guys go see, make noise. I'll kill A.
What he want us to do?
Go
Go
see,
see.
I'll
Make
kill
noise.
A. I'll walk up A and I'll kill A.
You good? You stupid, stinky, smelly bitch. You know, and see, that's why I say B. That's B. That's why I say he's a bully. Cause he says shit like that. Jet.
Spike down.
He says shit like that without blinking an eye. Like it's the most normal thing in the world. Oh, you got a nicer gun. Oh shit! I pressed the wrong button. And then he act like
Come to
it's
site, come to
another
site. Site space, site
day in the
space.
park. And I said, sir, what the what?
Go plant, Sky, go plant.
I don't have the spike.
Oh shit, my bad.
Jet flanking. Watching flank.
Just flanking.
Blinded.
Last player standing.
Oh no, they're both inch.
Both flank.
Ult, you got ult. Just ult. Ult off top, bro. Relax. Let's go.
What the? Oh.
Nice try. Nice try. Nice try. Nice try. I'm sorry, I don't mean it. It's out of love. You know, you only say that because there's people watching. If there wasn't people watching, I don't think you'd be carrying the same energy, sir.
They think they're so secure.
We'll talk about this later. If I don't pass out, I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yo, can you blind through the wall?
Can I get a drop?
Can you blind through the wall?
I got me a Spectre. You know what? I'm gonna do what B does, and I'm gonna save.
Yo, blind through the wall.
There.
Careful there.
I tell you sorry. Oh, that's true.
Oh. Oh. Ow. Oh. Thank you.
One thing you do is but then isn't that like a toxic? Oh, yes, sir.
Healing over here.
Isn't it like a toxic friendship if every time like you say something mean to me, like you apologize?
One enemy remaining.
Stuck.
Here.
Oh shit, my bird. Oh shit, it didn't pop. You see my nails? Fuck up. Ew.
What is it?
You reckon they're saving? Maybe.
I guess so.
I know, eh?
I guess not.
You need to go to bed as well. Don't tell me what to do, sir. It's not even past my bedtime. It's so early.
If you see one of my creatures, it's a good thing, alright? We'll figure out what they do eventually.
It's toxic if I actually didn't like you. So what is it? Bullying out of love?
Yo, Sky, can you buy me?
You have to act nicely. You have enough money. What do you mean buy you?
Yo, buy me, Sky, buy me. I need
You have enough money. What do you mean?
I don't have enough money, bro. I don't, man. I need my util. Hurry up, hurry
Wait.
up.
You didn't even say please.
I need heal, I need heal, I need heal.
You have to act nicely.
Can I please have a heal?
There we go.
I have the spike.
And again, my yes, out of love. Oh, is bullying your love language too? Oh my gosh!
Last player standing.
I found another. But you didn't say that. You just added it to your list.
Guy, bro, respectfully, like, if I ask for something, you just do it right away.
No, disrespectfully.
Yo.
Shut the fuck up, nigga.
Yo. Let's go. Cozy.
You're mad. Stay mad. You just are mad that I didn't say yes.
I mean, you're getting mad
But guess
at
what?
me fucking-
You're 15, man.
I don't care.
Shut
You're
the
getting
fuck
mad
up.
at
I'll
me
rape
giving
you, bro. I'm a
constructive
fucking rape
criticism.
you.
Okay, there you go, muted.
What?
Can I get a drop? Thanks.
Give me energy.
Take me energy.
Wait, don't peek this. I'm gonna wait for Neon to flank.
Okay.
They got that BDE, big dislike energy.
Big dislike energy.
My ult's ready. Here.
Wait for the Neon flank.
Here, time to hunt.
You reckon this dog is a little too early? Maybe. Oh shit.
Spike
They all
down
got fucked
A.
up. Oh B, no, you're still alive too. Okay, good. Good. And I
Enemy spotted A.
Oh, he's an off. Oh, no. Oh, no.
oh,
Spike down A. Last player standing.
there's the door. Little bitch asshole energy, very much so.
One enemy remaining.
What the?
That's why.
Related.
Those kind of people make me feel violent. Those type of people make me
Match point.
the toxic side come out.
Follow my pack in. They'll lead us right to the enemy.
Can we just let them win the last round and just stand in the corner? Actually, we have to win.
Hmm?
Like we just stand in the corner this last round to make them mad.
Never back down, never what?
Never give up. Never give up. Should I heal him?
Up to you.
I don't want to play with them anymore.
Absolutely not. In fact, you should flash that one.
Oh, I got that.
I don't want to. Oh. Dude.
Oh, well.
Never back down, never what? Never give up.
That's a risky spot to dog from.
I gotta make it seem innocent. Like I thought my teammates were gonna watch me, but they didn't.
I can't hit him one shot. Nah,
Let's go. Let's go.
This, get the rest.
Standing ahead.
Oh my god, bro, this guy's so
There
good.
they are.
Oh man, dude.
GG's. GG's.
You will not kill my
We wait until we wait a couple seconds before we queue. Never back down, never give up. Never give up.
Alright, I'll leave you guys to your Valorant games. I'm gonna go on to my presentation.
Already, thank you
Good
for
luck.
stopping by.
Yeah.
Bye.
Enjoy the rest of the stream, and I'll leave you with this.
What'd he do? Father, I missed it.
I didn't. I also did not.
Me
don't.
too. Yeah.
I don't.
I have class in the way. Harold, you have a lot of shit to do tomorrow. Shouldn't you be sleeping? That's my question.
My father said his mic broke the second he dipped.
Oh no.
It is what it is.
What it is, bro.
Bro, I want to win, but like, God, at what cost?
Oh my
What?
gosh.
What? Do we run it down until? Oh God, that's so loud. Oh my God.
And I saw
my
saw him come in. That's the
saw
thing.
him. I saw him jump in the chat. I did not know it would be that. Oh.
Oh my goodness gracious. B-Man has to read me a bedtime story. B-Man, you have to read him a bedtime story.
Once upon a time, Cousin and I queued one more, we win. The end.
Basically. The end. We queue one
Queuing
more.
it.
Queuing it.
Okay, I gotta get my bedtime story. Ready?
Mhm.
What do you call a magic owl?
Don't respond. Don't. Nice fairy tale. Amazing. I like the first one better.
Houdini.
I do love fiction. You know what? Yo, you ain't ever gonna catch me saying your jokes are good. We have this one book called The Bladed Fate. This one book I have on my desk called The Bladed Fate, and we're gonna read some of it until we ready. Everyone get your blankets, go to bed. Fucking be lay down while we read. We're gonna wait till I finish talking. Wait, close my room door. Close it.
Match found.
What chapter are you on? I'm on chapter 5. I didn't have much time to read after. Are we just playing with that person? I didn't have much time to read after yesterday. Yesterday you did before. What chapter are you on, Haru? I'm on 11. Can you okay, you know the only reason I'm at chapter 5 is because physical books I only read when I'm at home, and when I'm on like the road I read like my Kindle. So I'm like 80% finished the book on my Kindle that I started like a day after I started this book. But this book I'm only like 50 pages through. So that's the only reason you're so far ahead of me. If it wasn't for being a physical book, I probably would have finished it by now. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Tempted to get this on my Kindle. B-Man, do you read? Oh, B-Man's muted. Shh.
What?
Oh, I didn't lock in.
What is reading?
You don't read?
I watch videos.
Do you listen to audiobooks?
No.
Ah.
I watch free movies. That
makes sense. No, if I had it on my Kindle as well, I'd be smashing through it. On God, bro. I don't know what it is about the Kindle. It's just that shit. You know, if it wasn't for playing these games tonight, I probably would have like finished my book on the Kindle. B-Man, how did we get this far? I was supposed to go back to reading.
we're down bad in games.
Posture check.
Valorant.
Yes, sir. Oh, here I saw your hydrate earlier. I did hydrate.
Do that. Yeah.
You can give yourself your monies back.
I can?
Just do that one. Good. Oh, hydrate? Yes, sir. Have you hydrated? Have you eaten? What'd you get for dinner? What was on the menu for dinner tonight?
Wait, me or like? Wait.
Yeah,
huh?
you can answer too.
Oh, no, I'm good. You know, I did not. Oh, well, funny. Yeah, I didn't eat.
You didn't eat yet? You go eat after this game, and then if I haven't hit the 2
I'll
hour
eat when I
mark,
win.
no. Didn't you eat French fries? You finished your French fries?
That's not dinner though.
That's true.
Good, but it ain't dinner.
What you do is you get your food and you do eating while playing Valorant. Hot dogs?
Oh
Just
yeah, I am.
eating while playing Valorant? Oh, you got dinner?
These guys caught me in a mood.
My fries.
Ah, aren't they cold by now? Damn.
They've been cold, Ed.
Oh my goodness.
I mean cold fries.
I don't know. Cold chicken nuggets hit different, but I'm not too sure about cold fries. Cold fries are like
Don't worry about it.
iffy.
They're just food.
I see. Hot dogs? The hot dogs you normally get are just like regular hot dogs. I want some dim sum. Why don't you get dim sum tomorrow? And yes, I just had hot dogs. Like just bread and sausage. You didn't have like.
Sorry guys, my game finally loaded.
Sorry guys, my game finally loaded. This was like the boy.
Spike planted.
Hey guys, so today. Actually, I shouldn't be doing that. What if that's rude?
Last player standing.
Well, the normal hot dogs I get. Oh, does B-Man like dim? B-Man, you like dim sum? He said yes. He likes dim sum.
It's my culture.
Dim sum is his culture. Do you know how to make it?
No.
Damn. I felt that. We should get dim sum together. When Olivia comes to Canada, actually no, I'll drive from Canada over there. So I could pick up you and Olivia, and then we can get some dim sum, and then we'll bring someone for Haru. Unless Haru, you want to come as well. And the girlies are out. The nearest dim sum place is like 40 minutes from me.
Reloading.
Shaka, I'll just fly. You don't have to fly. We'll pick you up. You reckon they rotated?
Can you pick me up in your plane? Yeah, one of them did.
That goes one shot in showers.
I could have. I feel like a high chance. I mean, if you're gonna fly a plane, might as well just
Spike down A.
pick us all up.
Ace it. Ace it.
Ace question mark.
Oh.
Here.
He's short.
30 seconds left.
Waiting till training arc is over. Let me know when training arc is over so then we can plan it. It'll be a...
He's in U-Haul.
I know. It'll be the journey of the century.
Straight to the center of the earth.
Almost had the ace.
What happened?
We can do this.
You almost got the ace.
Oh yeah.
I feel good. I feel good.
You feel
People aren't
good?
toxic yet.
Yet.
That is indeed a big rip.
That is indeed a big RIP. RIP in pieces.
I just want to win one, then I can sleep.
I feel like that just wanna win one mentality is what fucks you over.
Uto B.
I hate when people speak so seriously in comp because it makes in unrated because it makes it feel like it's comp.
Spike down B. One enemy remaining.
Oh damn.
I'm almost dead.
They'd be rotated.
Toxin screen down.
On my mark.
You say 3, 2, 1, go. Hold this angle.
She's right here. She's right here.
Caution here.
In the window.
Nice.
Stinger.
Good work. Keep going.
Stretch.
And do the same with the
You want the guardian? Okay. Yo, good morning. Good morning,
Oh my god, I am
Kaz.
Jimin.
You Jimin? You Jimin? Jimin shit. Jimin shit. Hi, Kaz. How are you? You Jimin shit. It's Jimin. They call him Jimin shit.
Dementia?
Dementia? No, not dementia. Kaz, how you doing? Just a lovely Tuesday morning. Tuesday morning.
Oh, there's two going there. I'm sorry, B.
Oh yeah! Monster on the loose!
Good morning.
Spike planted.
Jimin
Oh, they
shit.
planned it.
Rain is gone.
Good morning.
Deploying drone.
Poison orb emitting.
He's on the close right, close right, close right.
Oh, he walked out of the smoke.
Oh, plank too. Oh shoot.
Good 1% though. Forgot to charge. Oh, you didn't sleep, class?
What?
Damn, nice try, nice try.
Nice try.
They will die.
You should go charge. Take like a power nap or something. I would say I'd give you my energy, but I
There is none to give.
there is none to give. They have been given to all these toxic people in Z game, and we don't like toxic people in Z game.
Scanning ahead. Somebody's there.
One down A long. One down B long.
Oh, that confused me a bit. I heard some funky actions going on in A.
There's just one here.
Joke's over. You're dead.
I'm the hunter. Enemy B.
Yeah. Oh,
Spike down B.
sorry. I'll be less toxic. No, Harry, it's not you. I'm used to you. You're not the toxic we're talking about. I'm talking
Nice
about.
job, y'all.
Oh, he's so nice.
Oh my god. And there's like a huge difference from what we're
It
normally
is.
used.
I'm talking about the toxic where a quote-unquote e-boy tells me to hit him up and I say, ew, no thanks, and they proceed to call me ugly. Because their fragile masculinity got broken and he can't manage to get rejected by a quote-unquote e-girl. I am disgusted. Not trusted. Disgusting. Disgusting shit.
I think they're A. I smell it.
You think so?
I smell it.
Oh yeah, they are. Oh shit.
Revealing area. Found them. Enemy spotted A.
I forget that I have like the venom thingies. Silva, I'm so sorry. They're like.
Player
Oh
standing.
no. No, I'm gonna play for you guys. This might get copyrighted. I ain't gonna lie to you. Rejection? Sure, that's my middle name. Rejection? I thought it was oh, yeah, because you reject a lot of people. I see you, I see you.
Ooh.
Listen to I don't know how to pronounce this, Theo or Theo. We're gonna call him Theo.
Theo?
Theo. He sings Spanish. I don't want to call it jazz or R&B.
Oh.
It's like soft music. There's gonna be like ads. Because I got fucking Spotify ads. I didn't buy. Oh no.
Spotify Premium?
I do as my sister, but on like the account I have on my computer, it's just regular Spotify. Sure, that's what I meant. Oh, you get rejected here? Same, bro.
Take flight. Gotcha. Crash is ready. Enemy mark.
Spike planted. One enemy remaining.
Oh.
And with a classic too.
Oh. Hey.
Y'all did well.
Thank you. Can I try this on YouTube?
The YouTubes?
Remember
The-
to talk to each
oh,
other.
shit.
Hey, go to youtube.com/Kozume.
No, don't do that. Go to YouTube, TikTok.
She has
To
a
Twitch,
new. She had a new video out recently, like
Twitch.tv.
a while ago.
Black Sash. No,
What-
don't
what-
listen.
what?
Twitch.tv // wasabi.
Black Sash. What?
Bro, I can't. My brain is zero.
Mine is
Zilch.
gone. Mine is gone.
Do you need Spotify Premium for your computer? I wouldn't say it's a need. I mean, I have it on like my phone. So I've gotten used to it not having it on my computer. Oh fuck, I don't mind not having it.
Tell me if they're starting to play. I'll ult it.
Okay. They're planting?
Spike planted.
Dang it.
Oh, she's hiding in the smoke. Oh, so smart. Oh, you scared.
One
Oh,
enemy
please.
remaining.
Last one? What the heck?
Yeah. Yeah, you should.
Who am I kidding? My knees
Wait, why do you have two different accounts? Because the account I share with my sister is her account, and I don't want to put my sister's account like online or in public if she doesn't want to. It's mostly for like personal friends. So then I have my own other account. Also, because we have the Spotify Premium for just like individual people and not like, you know, more than one person, because like the student Spotify is cheaper. And so having just like 2 devices each on that gets a bit hectic, especially if like we're going out at the same time. So if like say for example I'm on like my computer late night and my sister's listening to Spotify, I just use my own.
You guys need all the food.
No, not right now.
Poison's off.
Teleported to
Joke's over! You're dead! Launching smoke.
Hi, Hero, why you sad?
You should run.
No need to be sad, sir. It's okay. We've been doing this for years. I've gotten used to it. It's not too stressful. I like it.
Good shit, y'all.
They're so nice.
Defuse the spike.
Good quality.
Thank you.
Good try, idiots. Reloading.
Is this too easy? It
Is
feels easy.
this too easy? It feels easy. That's what they all say, and then you get shit rocked, and you're like, what happened? That was so easy.
What was that?
Wait.
Seems like you're speaking from experience.
Oh, duh. Yeah. Experience. I am the hunter.
Why are you
You're...
alive?
This, X the same thing.
Oh my god.
Nope.
I was looking at the map.
Brimstone, no! Holy cracker jacks.
Dead on site.
Spike planted.
Bullseye.
Damn, nice solo.
Oh, we listen to... But piano music would put me to sleep.
One enemy remaining.
Oh my god, Silva's nice.
That's awesome. Wow!
Insane!
W Silva.
It is over.
He is Silva supremacy.
We love Silva.
You must keep going, even if you're the only
They
one.
have music videos to it. Wow. Here, there we go. I hope that's not too loud. Good kills, Cozy. You're the best. Thank you, sir. Thank you. I don't even think I got a kill that round. We don't talk about that round.
I haven't gotten a kill with the fast 10 rounds.
It's okay. You're doing better than I am.
I don't think so.
You have 9 assists.
That's because I smoke.
Yeah, I don't smoke enough. So if it weren't for you, we would have wide view of the site.
She's still gunning for you.
She's still gunning for you.
One enemy remaining.
Oh no, B.
player standing.
She's near teleport. Oh, nice try.
Good try.
Last round in the half.
Save nothing.
Oh.
No, I fancy you. Na, 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 na. Hey.
Wait, you didn't take the gun. You didn't.
No, I fancy you. Oh, you want this one?
I mean, you're wasting your own money, sir.
My gun!
I got
Oh,
one.
you did. Okay. True. I didn't know you bought one or not.
Oh shit!
Smells like they're going this way.
You reckon?
Launching smoke. Enemy spotted A.
Just come here. Oh shit, no B. Oh, just as I look away.
There they are.
So funny story. I tried to stop the plan.
I see.
But what I stopped was my life.
I see.
My ult is ready.
So
Honestly, I felt that. I truly did.
Shot done. Concentrate, Sova.
The way the Sova plays raises my anxiety. Sova! NT.
Nice try, guys.
Nice try.
We got them this half.
We do, period.
yeah.
All the nice people are here and it feels weird.
Well, look, we have 3 Prime Classics.
Caution here.
I want a Prime Classic. I want this one.
Watching here.
It matches my outfit.
They should make a gun, like a gun skin that changes depending on what agent you are.
That would be cool.
That would go for like $100.
Oh goodness. Well, yeah, because it like fits every character. You know how many like little modifications they would have to make for it.
That'd be cool.
But expensive as fuck.
This guy have.
Up and away.
Launching smoke.
I just realized we don't have a sentinel. I'm gonna watch our flank.
Help they protect.
Oh shit.
Cutting through.
Are they all over there?
Molly. Fake teleport. Take it down.
I think he's in cook. Oh shit. How you guys didn't see him? What? He was right. He was like right here.
I think I walked by the smoke the whole time.
I think so. I think he was hiding behind my wall.
We got it.
It's okay. It's okay. I like the view.
Twice is a vibe. Twice and Val's vibe. I mean, what? I don't know. But...
Watching here. Keep them cornered.
I'm impressed.
What's your favorite Twice song?
Scanning ahead.
Stuff right now.
Stuff right now?
Right, I can't really just pick one. You know?
What's your top 3?
I think at the moment, Queen of Hearts is like pretty solid, you know. I baited so much.
Oh no! It's okay, it's okay. For what, Harry? I die? It's okay, sir. 괜찮아요.
One enemy remaining.
There's one more, man.
Really surprised? Harry, you listened to Twice?
Here.
W K-pop stan.
Here's a once?
Here's a once, a twice, a thrice,
Thrice?
maybe.
A quad?
Quadchet? Yeah. What's your favorite K-pop group?
Last player standing.
Hit 35 short.
Molly.
Who, me? Yes, sir, you. Nice.
Shit, Broomy.
Good job.
Let's ruin their day.
Heyo.
Hello.
Thank you.
Gracias, senor. New Jeans with Luna. Haru, you would like my best friend. Her favorite K-pop group is Luna. But New Jeans, oh my gosh, you know ETA?
What's your ETA?
What's your ETA?
I
You
kind
know
of
Super Shy? It's okay.
That's me in real life.
Super Shy? Wait a minute. I can make you mine. All the time. Every day you're on my mind. On my mind. I wanna tell you that I'm super shy. I'm super shy. Super shy. But wait a minute, man. I'm looking at. Make you mine. And then you tell me that you're on my mind. Oh shit!
Enemy spotted. A. Back on. My ult's ready.
My ultimate isn't ready. Spire.
Time to
Oh,
Spike down A. Last player standing.
she's 120.
Where?
There's one short.
One
Yeah.
enemy remaining.
The other one, I think, Snare Bomb.
Last short.
He has a buck. He's a judge, so watch out.
Oh, nice try. Timing was unlucky.
I should I don't know.
It's okay.
He says their bullets tickle.
My dad used to give me a lot of shit for listening to K-pop. I think that's like a universal experience for people who, I don't say outside of the Asian community, but people who are like not in that community who listen to K-pop. Cause like I got the same thing from my parents. I need to drop. I'm gonna save that.
Oh, well, I just full bot.
No, it's okay. We need one full buy. But guess what that makes us? Bad bitches. Because why?
I wanna
We
die.
are not shy. Not me, Itzy. I want a proper wall for here. I feel like a wall's not good. Oh no.
Oh, take my gun.
Down B.
I don't like. Oh, I can. Yo, come on. So now listen to huh? Is it the music to make them even more uncomfortable? Sir? Indeed.
Shock dart.
Reloading.
I mean, they never, like, they never let them know your next move.
Never say never. Justin Bieber.
And Jaden Smith.
Revealing area.
Never let them know what you're gonna do next.
Last player standing.
If they ask you what you're listening to, just make it the most unconventional thing.
10 seconds left.
Ooh.
Good try.
That's trying
Inti.
We have two guys going 20. Oh my.
2020. Oh damn.
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness. Hit him with the old K-pop wasn't so bad now. What, did you like listen to it out loud? Is that what happened? if you listen to it out loud, that's understandable. If you listen to it like in your headphones and like that's a little, you know.
Decoy.
Scanning ahead. Nice.
Nice.
Gun here. No chance.
Thrash is ready.
Planting.
One enemy remaining.
My planet. Reloading.
One heaven. Oh.
Wow, that's a goodie.
Wow.
Wow. Oh, I just picked up another guardian. I'm kidding. Huh, sir? I'm kidding
Hey,
about that. Huh? But you have no. It's okay. It's fine. I'll use it, guardian. Sir.
Let us hunt.
I was kidding about that. I thought you meant K-pop. I wrote what? I'm so confused.
K-pop?
K-pop.
Oh, ulting.
It is indeed the hunter.
Enemy spotted B.
I'm indeed a hunter.
Get out of my way!
Neutralized.
I'm fucked. I'm fucked. Oh shit. I scared him. That's what I did.
Take flight.
Toxins going up.
Watch out, there's one hookah. Hookah. Hookah.
Joke's over. You're dead.
I'm backing up. I have ultimate.
Right here.
He is YouTube. I used to listen to it a lot, but music taste goes through rotation. What's your music taste right now, Hera?
One enemy remaining.
Not one left standing.
What is the music that you currently?
Act on my intel. Don't give them time to reposition.
The Beatles.
You listen to the Beatles?
Yep.
Honestly, B seems like someone who listened to the Beatles, or like NSYNC, or like Backstreet Boys.
Whoa.
What?
Because I'm old?
No, you just seem like that type of person.
It hurts that you named all the old boy bands.
You just like older music. It's like my sister. My sister likes music from like 19 whatever it is, and she's born in the 2000.
I don't know.
Like she listens to shit that was like in fucking Whitney Houston, and that's way before her age.
Found.
I'll handle this.
Oh, you bitch. Sometimes you feel like if you still play the game, but like you still don't know where the buttons are on your keyboard.
Oh yeah.
One down.
Yeah. Okay, just wallbang it. Guys in love. Ooh.
One enemy remaining.
If B is old man, then I'm old. But isn't B older than you?
I'm older than him?
Either you guys are the same age or you're older than him.
I think those are just things I'm older than everyone.
You tell him.
No, not like older, but like a year or two
I'm
older.
the oldest person
No.
alive. Pretty sure.
You guys are the
I'm like,
same
oh.
age?
Once more.
Nah, that's Narek. Me, I'm like reasonable. If you're older than me, you are old. Like Haru's old. Wait, Haru, no to which one? I said a lot of things just now.
I'll take everything from them.
Take flight.
Decoy. Cutting through.
Standing ahead. Let's go.
I think someone might flank us.
Yeah.
Enemy spotted.
It's not
What
far
is
now.
now?
Maybe. It's not smart. No. Oh shit.
Oh, I was watching that.
The spike didn't go down. Where did she come from?
Oh. Oh, they picked up the op.
I'm pretty sure B is younger than me, but B is the same age as me.
Dimensional fabric here is thin.
Huh?
I'll tear through.
B is, you're not the same age as me.
Wait, younger by a year or two? That's what Harry said?
Yeah.
Maybe,
You know, that would make...
I don't wanna dox myself.
No, it's okay, it's fine.
Secret. It's a super secret.
That would make sense considering what year of school you're in.
Oh yeah! Monster on the loose! Reloading!
Enemy spotted B.
That's so weird. Wow. Heroes think you're an old man. You got old man mentality.
Where is she? Hey, wait, Sova.
Why you guys all go there? I'm scared.
Try and get this jet.
Get her.
One enemy remaining.
Okay.
Yeah, good shit.
Good job.
Open up the sky.
Reloading!
Dim beacon down.
Go get him, buddy!
I'm older than Wise. You're right. You're absolutely correct on that one.
Good shit, y'all. GG's.
We did it!
Yes.
We did it!
Have a good
I
rest of
was
your
like
night,
7
guys.
half of the
You
end because I was
too.
too busy trying to focus. Holy butts.
Who a win? Honestly, we went.
Holy
We
fuck.
went even today. And then we had
We
one.
went even?
Either we went even or we had we
No.
went even and had one.
We lost 2, I think.
Yeah, and we won 2.
We won 2, lost 4.
No, we didn't lose 4. We played that long.
Wait. Yeah.
Reina? Oh, damn. It doesn't feel like no one of them we FF'd.
Oh my god.
The Cypher one we went. Cypher one.
Oh my god. Puff Father said win season. So I guess I gotta play another one, right?
Can't end on the win, you guys.
Okay, I need
One
to go.
more. Yeah, B needs to go eat. Oh, there's a night market? Say less. Alrighty, thank you for the games, B.
Wait, I need okay.
What?
I need to see your I need to be here when you're oh.
Be here when I what?
Minima Phantom?
Minima Fit, yeah. I actually like these ones. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
Oh? Is it
It's like if you don't want anything too out there, but like end on a weekend, big man. But Father, you don't like Minima? Honestly, it's
I've been live for
respectable.
5.5 hours. Cool. Okay, I'm gonna go. Bye.
Okay.
Thanks for
Bye.
playing.
Thank you, thank
See
you.
ya.
Bye. Big man's got Minecraft ad gun, but it looks cute. I need Minecraft ad gun. It looks cute. Or maybe you reckon if Minecraft had like a gangster version, this would like be how the gun actually looked like. Endeavor, I don't like it, cause it reminds me of like the dude from, what's the show called? My Hero. Minecraft is just shit. You know what I'm waiting for, cause B said he was gonna make a new server. Minecraft like world. Harry said he wants to make a Minecraft world. I'm waiting for one of y'all to make a Minecraft world. Does that mean the season's about to end? Sabi has left your party. B, how are you just leaving? Battle pass. Damn. I didn't do shit. I haven't played at all. Run it back on Minecraft, Kozu. Minecraft? You wanna play Minecraft? Make a Minecraft world and we play Minecraft. One more? Should we do one more? I don't know how far I'm gonna get one more. And this isn't it. I don't know about the knife on this one. This is cute though. This reminds me of like Be Open to Minecraft or Be Open Minecraft. We reminisce on old times. Where this started technically almost 3 years ago. Do we play one more? Oh. Might need to do a new one. We do. Store is my store. W the new update in Minecraft. Minecraft. You know, I'll do one more. And then so I'll sleep in tomorrow. Ooh, yeah, I'm taking advantage of already being here. That's the Monday W streamer, W streaming tactics. I need cozy somewhere to fall asleep, so one more is great. Imagine. I mean, if you do fall asleep, that would be ideal. Even for anyone to fall asleep. Maybe that's why I should start streaming at nighttime, so you guys can like actually get some like fucking sleep. Where's my ASMR? I can't keep relying on YouTube anymore. I need you guys to say B. I need B. You know who's supposed to be my ASMR tonight? B. Technically, I was gonna lay down, I was gonna read, and I was gonna fall asleep with his stream still playing in the background. This is not a fair exchange, but you know, I'll allow it. Because it's... You guys get ASMR. I'll find my ASMR. Oop, I'm not ASMR. It doesn't even matter if it's like ASMR. I just need... I was DJing. Scamming DJ. The scam is the scams. Con artist. It's like, it doesn't even need to be like calming or like gentle. I just need stuff going on in the background. Like, I can't have silence. Even though I don't want to do sunset. I'm gonna cry. I need stuff going on. That's all I need. It doesn't have to be quiet. I dream about B-Man. Actually, what do you dream about? Actually, no, I shouldn't ask that. That's probably private. That is no information you should share on the internet. Your dreams, unless it's a proper one, then that one would be alright. But other than that, I wouldn't recommend it. Not at all. You know what's funny? Like yesterday, there was like this streamer who streamed Valorant, and like he streamed right when I was like started streaming. If you guys know Shiro XZ, however you pronounce his name, we started streaming like exactly as I went to bed, and like I freaking had my iPad like playing the entire night, and I wake up, and just as I wake up, like the stream was about to end. I just found it so funny that it was there the entire night. Like I was sleeping. Oh, we're almost done this album. Sad. Sip? Was you sipping here? That's kind of suspicious, don't you think? Don't you think that's a bit questionable, sir? We need other music. You guys want to listen to K-pop? Or lo-fi? Or cigarettes after sex? Gore Hills? I like Gore Hills by Doja Cat. That's the song you need to post someone to. I like that song. You tell me what to do a lot. Me? I don't know what you're talking about, sir. Well, I mean I do, but I mean you listen, so guess who's losing here? Definitely not me. Masego. We guys know Masego. You guys know Masego? Masego. I know we wear this. I'm trying to avoid any calming piano playing music. J. Cole? We can listen to Jake. The JVKE, however you pronounce it.
Killjoy is no threat without her toys. Break them and remove her.
Can't drink, can't drive. No, you can't drive dangerously. There's a difference. There's a huge difference, sir. Haru, you're picking out the wrong words. You can't drive dangerously. Can stay up late? I mean, you can. You're staying up late right now. It's 12 o'clock for you. You gotta be up in 8 hours. Be sad. Can't be sad. Who said you can't be sad? I said you can be sad. You just don't want to say nothing about it. Can't be unsafe. Well, that one's true. All within reason, don't you think? I think those are all reasonable requests. After what you ask of me.
Shot down.
Enemy spotted. God damn. No, what do I ask of you? To stay safe, to eat, to drink water, to go to bed, to shut the fuck up. A lot of things. A lot of things. Is the volumes okay? I don't have the volumes. Nice try. Kaz, you're here. Kaz, you didn't answer my question. How are you? You should see my game on Reina. I was eating that shit up. I was eating them kids up. Those are reasonable though? Yeah. Yes to what? And my requests are reasonable too. What do you mean fucking asking you to drive safely is not reasonable? You know what? The minute I get the car, I'm off-roading it. It's so fucking hard. What the fuck? What is going on? I shouldn't have played. What? You said yes. Yeah. Yeah to what? Oh, the volume?
Spike planted.
Coming through. Go, go, go.
It's like the volume and my in the game and like the music like balanced. I'm too lazy to take out my headphones and check.
Where are you?
You sound great.
Last player standing.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I feel great too. 10 out of 10. W feeling. Or no, collector.
Hesitation is for amateurs. Let's go.
Guess I'm an amateur. This is the No Spectre run. No Spectre any time of day. Excuse me. Solo always plays mid.
Turn out. I'll find you.
Placing swarm grenade.
Oh shit, I need to go there. Go Miss Fade.
Enemy B.
Defeated. Enemy spotted mid.
Oh goodness gracious.
Last player standing. Spike planted.
Oh, they at. Oh my gosh.
Killjoy is an offense to my radiance. I'll break her apart.
She's an offense to me and my radiance. Good chase inside. ATM. Say less animal. Hello. They said no, senor. I cannot help you. I said, but senor. ¿Por qué? They said no candy.
Whoops.
Guys, please, guys, please, guys, please.
Enemy spotted B.
Okay, we don't have to keep pinging. Shut the fuck up, please.
Enemy spotted B. Die. My ult's ready.
Spike down mid.
Enemy spotted B. Where are you?
Is there a reason why people like late night ships is
One enemy remaining.
damn. It's because like those moments where like the streamer is just like quiet and like there's just the gameplay and it's just
Last player standing.
oh no. And it's just like quiet and it's just like the music and the gameplay.
Clutch.
Miss right now. And it's just like chillaxing.
If you're not a good shot today,
Is it just
don't
me?
worry. There are other ways to be useful.
No worry, there are other ways to be useful. Should I Spectre? I did say no Spectre. No Spectre. No Spectre. We... Have they planted the spike once? I don't think so.
Placing sentry.
Placing swarm grenade. Marked one.
Oh, they're going back. They're always going mid or B.
Not coming back.
Oh, thank the Lord.
Spike planted.
Oh yeah! Monster on the loose!
Oh, Miss Fade, you got cut too? Goodness gracious me.
Nice. My ult is ready.
Here.
One enemy remaining.
Here.
Reloading.
Take hold.
You have got to be.
Oh, goodness gracious. No!
Clutch.
0.5 seconds. Oh my gosh, that's actually... You know what?
You can trust my bots. They only malfunctioned that one time, and honestly, she won't miss that finger.
If they didn't get off of the spike, we would have had it.
Drop. Salamat, thanks.
It's understandable how you might not trust your teammate, but like if they didn't get off the spike, we would have had that round. Can I put it up here? Oh, no. Well, that sucks. Right back here. Ah, Reina! Isn't it dope?
Placing alarm bomb. Placing swarm grenade. Placing swarm grenade. Turrets destroyed.
This angle to my left is actually fucked. I don't. Oh, okay, you're there. My save. Oh, miss, you've removed yourself
Found them.
from an important angle.
Last player standing.
Oh my goodness gracious. They're on. This time is not where the toxic people are on, it's where the people who are. It's already 1/3. It's 1:13. It's the people who are like good at the game, but they're not toxic anymore. Energy drinks.
Placing sentry.
I don't know if that sees anything.
Careful.
Enemy spotted B.
Alarm bot out. Placing swarm grenade.
Spotted B.
Swarm grenade out.
I think there's some behind me. I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. Miss Reina.
You will not kill my allies.
Miss Reina. Oh goodness gracious.
Spike planted.
They're all hit. Sova.
Player standing.
Sova. All we need is one round. I refuse to get 13-0. Wicked wise. There's Jake. We listen to some Jake.
There they are. Concentrate, Sova.
Golden.
That tech is only as good as
I used to listen to Golden Hour. This will calm the kids down. You know what I'm gonna do, actually? In full by next round. I'm not gonna peek it. We're just gonna play with.
Turret, just careful. Here. Here.
A judge. I mean, it's something. Oh, fudge popsicle sticks. Why would it pull out the judge like that?
Here.
One enemy remaining. Spike down B.
You see how I can be helpful with just a sheriff?
You couldn't kill us.
And we save monies, yes sir.
Need a drop.
I'm gonna have to be the one that buys them. Oh, I'm gonna cry. I did all of that for what? I did that for me. Oh, he's gonna do that. Yeah, I don't want to play.
Placing sentry. I'll find you.
Scanning ahead. Found them.
Or?
Enemy spotted B.
Hi! I'm pissed!
Multiple enemies.
Spike planted. Last player
Ay,
standing.
ay, ay, por favor. Hey, let's go one round on this. You know, the round does around with me and my sheriff. You reckon I should just go sheriff every round now? It's gonna be like, buy safe, buy safe, buy safe, buy safe, buy safe. Byron, safe round. Byron, safe round. Byron, safe. Cap. Caps? Caps lock.
Turn out.
They really love their middle.
Here.
I'm fucked. Thank you. Thank you.
Spike down mid.
Is his name Pookie? No, DC Nation. I was supposed to say thank you, Pookie Nation. I don't think they're all the same. Thank you, Pookie.
Reloading.
One enemy remaining.
Sing Spooky. Clip singing high pitch for 1 hour.
Reloading.
Wheels. Another one I could play.
Make their fear your weapon. Or use
Are you
that
gonna play more? If yes, can I join one? I was gonna actually head out after this one, cause I'm sorry. It's like super late, and I'm really tired. Is there another time you're free though? You can play in I don't know if I can step. I can step to Thursday night. Let me know. My timing's always good. It's honestly so hard, especially being like 12 hours apart. Honestly, anything more. Oh yeah. Anything more than like 5 to 6 hours is fucking hard to plan. But what days are you free? We can plan a day to play some games. And then that'll be very fun.
Enemy down. My ult is ready.
Spike planted.
Phase Blood has abandoned. No, what Phase Blood?
Last round before the switch.
Save nothing.
What did they say he is? Let's do a collapse attack. Most definitely. That would be fun. What game would we play? Valorant?
Don't overthink it. That's my
You
job.
can play Valorant.
Placing sentry.
Neon always goes mid. Oh, wow.
Wait, really?
Wow. Give me that ace, bro. Give me your ace.
You should run.
What? Sorry, Val. Why would you do that?
Spike planted.
Initiated. Gotta go. Enemy B.
One enemy remaining.
Reloading.
Last player standing. Clutch.
That is literally the rattiest, most shittiest play ever.
Switching sides.
Phasmo? Phasmo? Do you only want to do that because it's Halloween time?
So many questions.
How much is Phasmo? I don't have Phasmo. Phasmo scares me. Is it like these little pipey thingies? I'll do it so like we play it while it's your nighttime and my daytime. So I don't gotta be scared. Spooky. Yeah, I've heard stuff about it.
Scanning ahead.
It made me very nervous, very spooky, scary. But it's like seems fitting for the.
Take flight.
Did you see her wiggle back and forth while shooting?
Spike down B.
No more dreams.
It seems fitting for the Halloween month.
That makes 3.
Oh my gosh, Kaz, how's your streams been? I always see your streams like when it's like really like either right when I'm about to sleep or I'm headed off to school. This
Remember, your weapon is only a
nice
tool.
try.
You can't just shoot. You have to think.
6 hours at a time, baby. Hoot hoot, your streams. Honestly, should I buy? I just seem to be buying. Honestly, being able to stream that long, I aspire to have your stamina. It seems fun to like do longer streams where you can just like sit down and like, you know, chill. Like enjoy your time and stuff like that. Versus a Marshall, she's dinked for something. Oh god. What type of Michael Phelps though is that? Wow.
Last player standing.
Super shy, oh wait a minute, what up in there?
One enemy
Take a
remaining.
minute.
30 seconds left.
Wanna tell you, super shy. Oh jeez, yeah, on the other enemy team. Yeah, it is. I realized that when you fucking ran up on me with a judge at full speed and one-shotted me. Oh my gosh, are we playing with D? What team is he on again? I couldn't tell you. Is this person doing the ping the bomb spike thing?
I'll find you.
Honestly, it's quite annoying. Just a little bit. Did you hear he's playing for APAC now? Is that a new team? Or a game?
You were so close.
Asia Pacific? Actually?
I go fast.
Really? Is he from there?
My ult is ready.
Tell me more. I want to hear more. He literally went switching sides in real life. Match point. This is funny. Switching sides. Overtime. We pop off, I guess.
Where are you?
Switching sides. Overtime. Oh, she's dead? I knew that.
Placing swarm grenade. Placing swarm grenade. Placing alarm bot. Alarm bot down. Turrets destroyed.
Neon stopped.
Here.
Guys, I think it's time for me to go to bed. I think it's time for me to go to bed. I think it's time for me to go to bed. I think it's time for me to go to bed.
It is done.
He's native and oh, he's in my region now, Kozu. Right?
Stay taut as a bow.
If I rank up, I get to try and fight to try to fight you. What rank are you guys? I'm sorry, I would have sounded more energetic if it was It was a different time each day. At least it'd be the AFK. I'm still bad. I don't want to talk about it. No, you're not bad. You're just in your improvement era.
Hi, I'm pissed. Sentry.
You're not bad if you're... I kind of just want to go to bed at this point. I'm not even gonna lie to you. You're not bad if you're actively trying to improve and get better.
Spike down, attacker spawn.
It's Mimir time? What's that mean? Is Mimir time?
Don't die. If you need help figuring out how, just ask.
Look at the sunset. Is that what's it called? Sunrise? Sunset? What's this map called? How do you gently? Oh, this is basketball. The proportions. The proportions are wild. Snore. Me, 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 me. Oh, it's time to sleep? Oh, for me?
Spike down A.
Nice. Automatopoeia? Ah, I see. English is not my first language. No hablas inglés.
Defenders win.
GG. In honor, same. Oh my goodness gracious, that was an experience. We don't talk about Bruno. Now Wasabi, B, what is B doing on? That little scammer, he didn't even go eat dinner. Accessories. This is the one B has. Shits and giggles, because I gotta spend them. And then the Phoenix one. If they had that for like a Viper, what's that? What this? Okay, I like it, Picasso. I'll get this too. Alright. That is going to be it for today, kids. I'm gonna wait till the thing pops up, and we're gonna get rid of these games, and then we're gonna delete those, and then we're gonna get rid of that, and then we're gonna do this. Yeah. Thank you all for coming to today's stream. A lot of you might be passed out or sleeping by now. If you're in the same places like Kaz or Jay, then you guys are awake right now, and good morning or good afternoon. Good afternoon. Honestly, I don't even know when the next stream is gonna be. Maybe I'll stream again. Actually, but no, that'll be like streaming in the same day. You know how like you don't consider like a day an actual full day until you like pass out? That would basically mean that like tomorrow like I'll stream again. I'll see if I have the energy to stream tomorrow. If not, sleep. Thank you. Thanks for stopping by, Kaz. It was lovely getting able to chat with you for a little bit finally. Cause I know like I'm always fucking you passed out when I'm streaming. Or vice versa. Next stream, maybe Thursday. Maybe I'll stream Thursday. Play more Val. I will try to play more Val. Val's like an on and off game for me. I hate Val because like there's like so many toxic people in this game nowadays, and like fucking shitters and what are they called? Smurfs. And I hate it, and I can never get better when all there is people shitting on you. But I'll try to play more Val. We'll see. Val is fun. Val's nice. Yeah, I don't know when next. Maybe Thursday. Maybe I'll stream Thursday. After work, because I have work on Thursday. It'll be like 2:30, 3 o'clock. So like a little bit in the evening stream. Or I might not, because I do have an assignment due Friday. So then in that case I might stream on Saturday. We shall see. But thank you all for stopping by. It was lovely getting to chat with you. I'm gonna go do an assignment and then turn in for the night, so I don't have to worry about it tomorrow morning. But yeah, goodbye, sleep well, or have a great day if it's daytime for you, and I will see you guys very soon on the Discord if you want to chat outside of stream. And yes, bye bye.